Yeah. It's like it just says follow the rainbow and it like goes into the pocket.
Follow the rainbow. All right. Good advice.
That's where I keep my trips. Oh, hi, live stream. Everyone looks a bit zoned out right now. Are you sure you're up for this meeting, guys? Just a
yes, totally.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just getting oriented.
Cool. Well.
So what's happening?
What's happening? I'm surfing servers here, so let's stop that. Jesus, we are renting a $640 a month server for the Common Stack backend game. Jeez.
Backend game?
This is the most expensive DigitalOcean droplet you can buy. It was just temporary. They want raw CPU power.
What's running on there? A game, is it?
Yeah, but no, it's running the cat simulation engine.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's really, they need that power. Maybe not that much, but anyway, not your business. I don't know why I even said that.
No, it's interesting. It is very interesting, actually.
It is. Yeah. So no, the same goes for us. If we feel like our infrastructure is lacking, so we should not hold back or anything. If we feel we need more provision, which is actually a good thing to talk about. We did not really talk about autopilot the last time. I mean, Willie said a thing. I don't know if we go full on with this. Can't remember the website. I meant autopilot salt chlorine generators. No, that's not it. Maybe, I don't know, James, you want to quickly check out, or can I send some docs your way to see if this is something you want to go forward with? Because there is no free tier. We would need to have a paid account from the start. So I think before we go there and
what are we talking about here? DigitalOcean.
Sorry, the autopilot, which was the thing that Willie recommended to complement our segment.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you can send it to me. I will
right.
gladly have a look.
All right, because I wanted to check it out, but then I thought, before we pay, it's better to get some buy-in for this. There are some cool things I want to highlight, which, for example, they have all these. So they have this visual designer. So basically, you define your event, and then in the visual designer, which is like this Web 2 front end, you can then say, hey, send a webhook if this happens, and then, hey, send an email that looks like this, drag and drop email editor. So I think those features are very nice because at least for hard-coded emails, everyone who did that in the past usually knows this is such a pain in the ass to bug fix and change over time, because usually the people doing the change or wanting the change are not the people implementing the change. And so this is where I would see autopilot come in.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. I'm happy to have a look at it. I mean, I think generally speaking, the more simple the emails we send, the better. But yeah, a template would be the way I would want to. So I think with the emails, you have to design them with tables, like old school HTML tables to get it to work and all this. But I will have a look at that.
The reason why I would actually also recommend going with autopilot is that if we do it somehow else, we would likely need a full-on mail distribution service. And they have free tiers, but they're not very strong. And also, if you are on a free tier, I have some experience with SendGrid, for example. They put you on the servers that are shared with everyone, and with everyone means chunk mail is being sent from the server, so it will be blocked at some points. And it's around $40. And SendGrid, the next step up for SendGrid would also be $40. And I think Mailgun is around that ballpark. So I think we pay either that or that. Yeah. Cool. But I'll send you some docs over, and maybe you can have a look if that's our thing, and then I can go ahead and play with it more. And if I see how those events are created in the application, I can also support you guys with that. That is but I'm not sure if I have more updates.
Is there an issue for this? Like, I just wanted to ask about all of the email stuff to keep it all together in one place so that we can document our decisions also.
Yes, there is an issue for that. It's a bit quickly written, and it does not maybe it does not have the full scope. But I will post it in here or in the Giveth to Dev chat, so you can find it.
Happy days.
Hi, Amin. All right. Who wants to go next? We have some really great stuff, so I don't have to bore you with my lousy updates. We have great updates as well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess generally speaking, we should be live on staging for testing. I don't know if Matteo has more of an update than that.
No, I have responded to the couple of issues that Lauren made, and they are not showstoppers, but should be fine. At least the update one to fix it. As I migrated the landing page projects to being server-side rendered, whenever someone makes a like, gives a heart, you don't actually see it live because it's being rendered from the server. So what do you think? Should I move that to a client at least for the updates or what?
I think ideal situation would be we server-side render it and then update it after the page loads. Oh my God, who's that guy? Mark. Oh, what? Run away.
This guy fucks. What?
Okay. Are we live streaming? It's too late for us now. Oh my God, here we are. This algorithm's like clocking this video and like analyzing all of the backgrounds and shit like this. Serial. These are the testing helmets, is it?
We are Legion, man.
We're Legion.
I know we are.
But this is cool. We should do it more often. Thanks, Marco. You also got that from RaveCon 0?
No, this is my daughter's actually.
Oh, this is nice. Now I see the custom job.
Very cool. The custom job.
Nice.
Lovely.
My daughter is still afraid of it, or not. Like, she learned to accept it. Like, it's called the mask. And it's like her one primal fear. And if something scary is happening, she's asking, "Is the mask coming?" and stuff. But sorry, you're distracted.
Nice. Yeah, I think ideally like server-side rendering, and then after the page is loaded, we do the Ajax and check out like any, for any updates, right? So that's definitely something to keep an eye on while we're testing. Like, I'm worried about server-side rendering giving us some funny gotchas, basically. So essentially, server-side rendering by definition means that we render the HTML when we do the build and the deploy of the web app, right? So that means that like the data is taken out of the database at the time it's built. So any parts that are in there, projects that are there, anything, any kind of like data at all is created into HTML, and then HTML is deployed to the server. So that means if there's any changes after the build and deploy has happened, such as new projects, such as edits to the description, such as hearts, such as anything, then they will not be done as a server-side render. And we already have 2 examples now of hearts, and adding new projects probably needs to be tested already. But this is the kind of stuff to keep an eye out for, because we may need to do some changes for this, right? So ideally, it's great to have HTML there when the user comes to the page. And then if there's anything to update, we just update it, right? So I don't know if it's confusing when the first render happens to have like 10 hearts, and then after a second, there's 12 hearts. Or is it better to have like a loading, or what we're going to do about that exactly? So I don't know.
What I did for the donations, for example, because that's actually happening to the project details view, where you are being shown the rendered version, but the donations should be real time, because someone makes a donation and what they do mainly is go check if it was taken into account. So I separated that. I am showing all the information that is related to the page, except for the donation. The donations I'm doing it through a normal query. So I think I can do that to the updates as well, to the hearts, sorry, in the project list. That's the same component actually, so it would solve the issue for both landing page and the project's route.
Yeah.
If we agree, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, I think just use your, like, if there's no issues raised or we don't discuss it, then just use your best judgment. I mean, maybe we should we track it in one ticket, or like create, like GitHub issues, like should we have one issue for this, or maybe just do it. I don't know. We can figure it out as we go along, I suppose.
Yeah.
If anybody else spots an issue like this, then feel free to create an issue.
And I haven't made a new project yet, but I tested it on dev and it worked. I mean, the client is falling back to the other route that is not server side rendered, so that should be fine. If we create a project, yeah, it will show, except for the list. Yeah, that's it. That's the only issue.
Right. Cool.
So for that, we could consider to make a rebuild of the project of the deploy. If we find many additions in a day or every 6 hours or so, what do you think?
Yeah, I postponed making a decision on this, first of all, to see, like, in real life, like, what does it feel like if someone creates a new project? Like, how often is that happening? Like, how often should we redeploy? And the main reason is because there was still some question marks for me around, like, should we allow projects to immediately appear on the DApp or not, right? Or is there some kind of, like, should we have some kind of list whereby every hour, like, all of the new projects are put there, someone looks over them and then hits accept or something like this? I don't feel like we've really spoken about that a lot, but I didn't really want to make a fix for this before, in case there's a decision on this or something,
I can do what we talked last time, that was the labeling, saying that a project is not approved yet, regarding the status that we mentioned. I'm not sure what the labels are, but you did it. It is.
Did we reach a conclusion on this, like a consensus on this? Because my feeling is that, like, is that everyone is just assuming we put it straight on the, like, all projects that are added appear immediately on the website, and it will then auto post into the new project channel in Discord, and anyone can flag that as spammy. And if more than 3 people agree, then it gets removed or something. I think that's agreed, right? But I think anything beyond that is kind of not really in scope. And I don't know if you guys have opinions on this or what your understanding is of this, but I don't feel like I still feel like I would like to discuss that again or more. You also, Marco, or no?
No discussion anymore.
Yeah. Well,
so we agreed. We agreed on that part. I think we had a conversation last time, and we're going to have an update with givebacks, and one of the user stories there, and that I'm currently working on converting them into issues, is actually verifying project owners with Twitter, GitHub, and all that kind of stuff. It will be kind of more advanced to something, to the quick fix that we have currently implemented. So after we do that, I think, like, there's more credibility to the project owner, and then the people who will be posting those projects. I guess the amount of those, like, bad projects will be lower.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, we also have those givebacks where we actually verify projects, and we can then work on those issues and user stories a little bit more. And then discuss what we can do to prevent or lower that number of those projects. So for now, I wouldn't waste any more time on that.
And right now, as it is, someone creates a project and it wouldn't be listed instantly as we are rendering them server side. So what what should we do to solve that issue if someone
Well,
wants
that's
to
the
see.
point. That's the point of not discussing this further for me, is that like, if it sounds like from what Marco is saying that our trajectory is to improve the likelihood of all projects being good, and therefore like we should build a strategy based on this, right? I mean, we probably will need anyway to remove projects, but it sounds like we should build towards like some automated way of not manually approving shit like this. So in this case, I guess the ideal situation is as soon as someone adds a project, we immediately rebuild and deploy. That's the dream situation. Potential problems with that include speed, cost, whatever. Like, I suggest we just try it. We try optimize the build, because the build has become unoptimized while debugging all sorts of shit that happened. So we get that back into optimization mode, see if we can get that to happen or not. And if not, then we make a solution that works, basically. But I think like this is something that I would like to work on pretty soon, I would say, the build optimization. Marco.
Yeah, in addition to that, there's one more user story that says, as a project owner or as a project, I want to fill out a very simple form that shows I'm serious about using my donations. So I guess that, in addition to what I previously said, like, we have those components that we can then think about how we can automate in a way, or put some weights on each of those, saying like, you know, these, like, I don't know, something to filter out those bad projects. We're gonna eventually we're gonna have a lot of more stuff that we can use in the back end to filter those stuff. Right now we don't have that, and I don't think we should waste more time and effort on that. We agreed, like, we're gonna post them on Discord, we're gonna filter them, we're gonna spend some time reviewing those. We might even have like maybe a weekly or I don't know, gathering to go through that. It's on us right now. So
yeah, that's cool. I actually forgot that we have fallback for projects. So actually we don't. I was still in the mode of like, we need to make sure that the project appears on the website when someone adds one, right? Like, this is where I was coming from. But we do have fallback client-side rendering, right? So actually, like, a build every hour is reasonable, actually.
Yeah.
So maybe
it shows, but it won't be seen instantly in the list, which could be normal for the user. At least the bread is in there. So yeah,
okay.
we can do it an hour, but I'm worried about the timing of the build, because Netlify charges according to that. And actually we have reached more than the 50% of the free tier.
Okay. So maybe the best strategy on this is we do nothing and we wait for people to see problems and actually experience some issue with this, if there is any issue, and if so, then we fix it. In the meantime, we just speed up the build anyway, optimize the build, and look at potentially building once a day or once an hour or something. I don't know. I'll look into it, basically. So it's not like a load of extra stuff, Marco. It's just like a question of making sure what we did works, basically.
So does that mean it takes an hour for a new project to actually appear?
It means that when we add a project, that it will instantly appear, but it will not be rendered on the server during the build and turned into only HTML. So it will, when you go to the project page, it'll spin a little, it'll do that spin thing like it does on live right now, where it's like a bit slow and like, so it loads a little bit of HTML and then it goes to the server and gets all the data and then it builds the page on your browser, right? So it will do that for new projects for the first, don't know exactly how long. So we'll figure that out, I guess. Let's see. I mean, if the user experience sucks, then we can prioritize improving it or building more often or whatever. But let's just see how it feels as a user, I suppose.
Cool. The other one that Lauren encountered was the MetaMask. Yeah, weirdly allows to send a transaction that makes no sense. Let's say that she had 80 DAI and send a transaction of 90, and it allowed the transaction to go. So we saved the donation because, yeah, it happened. But afterwards, it was rejected, of course, because there was not a right amount of DAI. So that's a weird edge case, and I didn't know that that MetaMask allowed to do that. So what I thought is, for now, I could check the amount of the token that the user has before actually sending the transaction, and see if we should even call MetaMask and allow the user to approve the transaction. But that's sometimes a problem, because if we are using on board, then I don't have much control to really handle every error that this provider may show. Let's say if the user uses Portis or whatever other service, I couldn't really see. Or maybe I do, I don't know. I have to investigate in that. But what I want to come is that should we be checking the status of the donations as a regular commitment and see if it was completely passed? But for the ones that are not completely verified, because there is a chance that someone puts a really low gas fee and the transaction happens, I don't know, in many hours or even a day or whatever. So there is a big chance that the transaction fails, and we still count it as a good donation. So
and this is this is a problem that I experience with Gitcoin as well. And I have no idea how they solve that, but my transaction actually failed. And as soon as you click on the donate, whatever, you get hooray donation. You got confirmation email. You were immediately listed as a donor on the project's page. Everything is beautiful, but my transaction failed, and I felt bad about it, because everywhere on Gitcoin is written that I donated, and people started congratulating me and thanking me, and Marco, you're the best, thank you. But actually my transaction failed. I have no idea how Gitcoin solved that issue, but it's bad UX. I felt terrible about it.
It's making you out to be a scammer.
Yeah, really.
Giving feels bad, not good.
So
it's crazy what stories you will come up with to justify that you're yeah. Now we all know you're very generous, Marco. But this is I think in the old days it was not like that. But this is not bad UX. It's just not checking what the chain does really. Like it's possible to watch for all this, but it will be very slow.
Yeah,
I think this is.
But
you don't get instant gratification.
But eventually I ended up because of knowing that my transaction failed and I did not get any response from Gitcoin on this matter. I just went ahead and donated again, right? And I solved that issue that way. But anyway, you feel bad about it. You get notified that you actually donated, but you didn't. No one from the support is getting back to you on that. I think that's bad experience for me.
Yeah, I agree, and it's completely avoidable. It's maybe a little bit more work, but it's good to know this, because ultimately, if we do things like send the emails when the right thing happens, then it should never happen, right? It's like when we get a notification of a confirmation, then we raise an event, we send an email with segment or whatever, right? So it's mistakes that they made that we won't make, hopefully, and it's probably more difficult for them to change that now, I guess. So cool, that's good to know. What's happening right now again, Matteo? So let's say it's a low gas transaction on, it waits for the transaction to complete.
I have an event regarding the blogs confirmations. I think I get to wait 14 or 15. I'm not sure how many, but if you stay in the same page while you wait for the confirmation, it will show and it will agree. I mean, I can have already, if the blog was completely mined successfully. So the problem is that after that, if you go away from the page, we don't have that same event. So what I am thinking right now is that we could handle another state of for the donation that would be like verified or something like that, mine, we could say. And by default, the donation is like that, and we can run a process every now and then, daily, to check the donations that are not verified, and we take a look if it was mine or not, and we can give, I don't know, a couple of days. If it's still not verified in the blockchain, we remove it. That's
So
easy to do, really.
I just want to confirm I understand something. So basically, like if we put a low gas fee on something, for example, and make a donation, and it's taking its time, and I never get away from the page, basically, this is what causes the problem, right?
No.
Okay.
No. That's not the problem. The problem is that we're not saving the real confirmation of the transaction. The real, the let's say the block was mined where the transaction went and it went successfully. That's the issue. Running away is just saying that we don't really know. If you stay, you can wait until it's successfully, and we will know for sure. But that's not happening in the long term. That's it.
Okay, I'm still a little bit unclear about, because remember before I made this endpoint where immediately when they donate, we put a record in the database saying, okay, donation has been made. And then after a confirmation is received, like from the blockchain, then we update it now, right? Or did we remove the first one, the first call to the database? Or?
Yeah, because we only use the transaction hash and we get it instantly. That's not the problem. The problem is that even with the transaction hash, we need the confirmations of the blocks mined of it to see if it's really successfully or not.
Okay, but are we putting anything in the database before we receive a confirmation?
What do you mean?
Are we putting anything in our database before we receive the confirmation?
I am checking the confirmation in the front end, but we are not really saving that it was mined or not. We are only saving the transaction hash. That's
Sorry,
the work
when
that
I
we
say
have to do.
confirmation, I mean like confirmation that it's mined. I mean that it's in a block, basically.
No, we don't have that yet. We only have the hash.
So just like a little thing, UX-wise, I just know it from exchanges mostly, but they would show a transaction as pending if they're not sure it has been mined, but it is in a pool.
That could be.
That's like my suggestion for just wording to say a transaction is pending.
Yeah, I think that's good wording. I
think even for the confetti and all this, it can be pending. Like, yay, thank you, so you're so great. Please check if it's working. It should
actually.
Yeah.
As it is right now, you only get the confetti when it's really mined. If you don't get it mined, you don't get the confetti. You get the pop-up saying transaction is still pending and you can get away from here. But yeah, you just know that we send it. After that, we don't know what happened to it.
Okay. I mean, what we could do is like, as soon as okay, I mean, we essentially monitor the transaction, and like when it's confirmed, then we get an event, and then we send the emails, and then we do all of this kind of stuff, right? I think that's the way.
I just got an idea. The extra mutation that you did for getting the transaction hash, we can put it back, but in the first instance, we put it pending. If we get the real confirmation and it really went through, we put the pending status to false or whatever, it passed. If not, yeah, it's still pending, and we have eventually a job in the backend to check the status of the pending transactions, and after a couple of days, if they are still dead, we remove them. I think that's the best way.
Okay, cool. So let's open an issue for this then. Is this something that we need to go live right now, or is this like an edge case? Marco, what do you think?
Yeah.
It's pretty important. want it in there? I mean, you can say yes. It's totally fine.
One of the things I just wanted to say, like one of the things like that Uniswap does is like, you know, you have the pending transaction saying written somewhere at the top, and then even if you switch your wallet or switch your network and then switch back to that network and back to that wallet, it checks that and sees that you have one pending transaction. So I'm not saying you guys should do the same thing if it's like huge effort or something like that, but that would be great if we can do that. If we can always at the top next to the username show pending transactions. I think I mocked it up somewhere. I'm not sure. And then when the user clicks on that, we just have a pop-up saying this is your transaction and view it on Etherscan or something like that.
I think that's totally reasonable. I think we can do that. I mean, it's just a question of like, for me now, I would love to get to a point where we're just fixing bugs and like get this live, right? Like, I mean, I'm not saying we can't do this. Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, it's kind of like, should we put this in? Or...
If our goal is to like go live as soon as possible and not create new enhancements and issues, then let's put it in a fast follow or whatever next phase will be.
I mean, what's the probability that like the users, like what percentage of people are going to have problems with this? I mean, we don't want to put out shit either, right? Like, it's kind of like, is it like 10%? Like, that's too much.
Like, 100% crypto people will be donating at first, right? And all crypto people, after I donated, I want to see my transaction. I want to see where it is. And I want to see, I want to see the Etherscan link, and I want to keep that tab open until I see success, right? And so I should be able to have that link somewhere accessible, right? After I donated, you should be able to give me information like, this is your transaction, it is pending right now, view it on Etherscan, go away from this site, do whatever you want. Once you get back, or whatever, once it's confirmed, we're going to notify you. It doesn't have to be like Uniswap example that I gave right now. We can do that later, but the bare minimum is to give me the transaction hash or a link to the Etherscan and inform me about it. I want to keep that tab open. I want to see it.
Yeah. I mean, there's no reason why we don't immediately show that donation under the user's donations page, right? Matteo, like we have all of that, right? It's just a question.
It could be pending. It could be pending.
Yeah, and it will be pending, right? I think like we can, or what do you think, Matteo?
With the transaction hash, I can do that anytime. Like we put on a new route donation / the transaction hash, and we show a more clear status of it. Like, it's still being mined, or it was completely failed.
Just pending.
Or pending, or yeah. I think that shouldn't be hard. If we get a cool design, that should be happening really, really fast.
Yeah. Okay. Let's create an issue about it and do a bit of investigating for it. Like, I mean, I have code that we can monitor for like confirmation stuff already. Like, it could be super quick, but I don't want to commit to it right now. But let's see what we can do. I mean, it seems to me like we should at the minimum be able to show it under the user's donation page. It would be nicer if it was just like floating somewhere on the screen or something, like on 1 inch, like when it's completed. I think even on 1 inch, it only appears after it's finished, after it's been confirmed. But like, we could also have it somehow just floating. I don't know. But at a minimum, we have a place for it on the donations page already, right?
I just wanted to say that however this goes down, I don't think we should like delay the launch. In my mind, we are live for a month now, and all we are doing is making the application better in instances, in increments, and features will come. So we will add more features anyway.
I agree. Like, honestly, it's such a big UX improvement. Like once we get this out with the server-side rendering and stuff, like it would be really great to get it out as soon as possible, I would say. And then marketing can launch and all this, I guess. Yeah.
There's
not marketing, communications. All right.
One thing to add. I'm looking at a success screen of the donation. And Matteo, you mentioned that you get confetti only after the transaction is successful, right? Has been mined. We could change that. We could give them confetti right away. And I'm looking at the mockups in Figma. There's actually a link, view transaction details. So basically, like when user clicks on view transaction details, that could either go to my account, transaction history, show me pending transaction, or you can just reuse some of the pop-ups and say you donated to this project that amount, and I don't know, here's the transaction details link to Etherscan or something.
Yeah. Right now, you get, if the transaction takes more than 1 minute or 20 seconds, 30 seconds, I don't know what the time I put. You get the pop-up saying this is taking too long, you can close this, etc. That's it. But I don't know, we can show the confetti behind that or show.
No, it's
I don't know.
The question is, I mean, it's not about confetti here. It's just that I mentioned confetti because I'm seeing that on the screen in the mockups. But if we're showing the Etherscan link anywhere, that's fine. We're good, and we're good to go.
Yeah, we are.
And all the enhancements with all that, like floating things and pending transactions, and checking if user has connected the wallet and right network and going back and all that kind of stuff, we can do later.
Got it.
I mean, that's my opinion. If anyone
No,
else,
you're right.
I mean,
You're totally, absolutely.
I mean,
I was muted. I was like, but like, let's have a look at it and let's figure out the most pragmatic way to get the most minimum basic functionality. And if we can easily get what's awesome, get it in there, right? So let's look to resolve it, and let's in the meantime get this app tested like crazy, and we can prioritize it then, right? Like if we have loads of bugs that we need to fix, then we need to do that first. And if we have nothing, then let's make it happen, right?
Yeah, there are many priorities behind also the profile, the addition of the email, and so we need to, I think that's the next discussion we should be having now. What is priority?
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, let's make sure we have our next actions clear. Like, I feel like we make a ticket about this. We document our thoughts on it, basically. I guess maybe, Matteo, you're the best to have a look at what we can do most easily. And yeah, let's communicate about this. I think we need to look into it a little bit, basically. But let's make sure there's an issue so it doesn't get lost. And let's make it as good as we can in the time we have. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say, really.
Okay. One thing I would like to add, whatever issues that are open right now, someone mentioned like email, user profile, or whatever. I'm currently working on converting user stories for the give back MVP into the issues. There's one epic, so I'm working on that. Please don't edit anything. Don't touch it until I'm done, because I want to like get a whole overview of what's actually in there needed. UI and UX related stuff, and everything actually that will be related to that give back MVP. Whatever issues we currently have, we might just merge those together. So like if there's something that we need to upgrade in the user profile or my account or whatever that actually will be done anyway or will be redesigned for the give back MVP, then let's put it on pause. Let's not touch it and like do it then later, just once and not like twice, right? So when you do prioritizing, either mention me or look at a give back MVP Notion doc, check it out, see if like, if there's some similarities with those issues, and then just, move them for the give back milestone.
Cool. Do you think it would be good if you looked at the backlog, Marco? Just because I don't really know if I have a feeling for what those issues are or something like this. And I think it would be good anyway for you to be prioritizing also the backlog. I mean,
sure.
Yeah.
Are you using releases or anything, Marco? Because you could also just use a release or a milestone.
There is, there are milestones releases. I don't think under milestones I'm seeing Giveback or whatever we call
what
it.
I mean, you could create one, and then that's a category that you can assign issues to, and then they are all ordered, and you are in you're the player, so you know.
Okay,
right?
Got it. So right now there's a Giveback implementation epic, and I'm currently adding issues there. I just started, so there's just 2. So I'm going to create new ones, and I'm going to tag the new. I'll create that milestone or release called.
Release milestone. I don't see any differences anymore between releases and milestone, really. And on the topic of releases, we should start with those. Like maybe we consider version 1.0 for the launch, and just so people that check back see kind of like our release tree and see our progress better, because I think it's basically the only thing to show that to the outside, and also it makes stuff referable.
Yeah, I did create a release already, at least one, I think, but I don't know. Do you want to take over of this, Kai? Maybe, or
I don't even know how you do that. I just wanted to say we could do it.
Yeah.
The reason why I did not create the milestone or release, because James, you were doing that before, and I thought like I don't want to do something. You had that in your mind and everything, so I didn't want to mess it up.
Yeah.
So feel free to create whatever a release milestone, and I'm just gonna find it under the drop down.
Okay. I mean, maybe let me know once you're kind of like finished or close to finishing or something, because I haven't really looked at this like prioritization and issues for a while now. I've been kind of distracted by emergencies, well, not emergencies, but annoying stuff. So it's about time to probably start doing that stuff again, I would say. And yeah, I think we should also move to sprints, like the new Zen Hub sprint thing, rather than milestones. So I guess I just need to have a look at it and figure out how best to pull it all together now going forward, I suppose.
I think the important thing is that we have a new one that we can file stuff under, like the next sprint, because I think it does not matter even, but try the sprints, There must be something where they differ from each other. I think like many sprints form milestones, and those get into releases. But
I like sprints. I think it's great that they've created this new functionality. It's probably for a good reason, based on feedback and all that kind of business. And it's automated, right? Like it rolls over and things like this. So I think we should just get into it. Like we just need to figure out like when we want to start a new sprint. I think like we should really use this release as like a test to like figure out like how long do we need for testing, how long do we want to do bug fixing, when do we want to go live, and like try and learn about how long it takes us and use this going forward for planning, basically. But yeah, I think depending on how the testing goes, we really need Marco.
Yeah. I just wanted like, if we're gonna start using sprints, we're probably gonna have like sprint planning session. I'm not sure if you guys already have those, and also some of the retros and stuff. And decide, having sprints in the Zen Hub is just a matter of like us knowing, okay, we're doing a sprint, right? And we need to have a sprint planning and see what issues we're going in there, and then decide whether it's going to be 2 weeks sprint or just 1 week or whatever. I'm okay with that. I mean,
right now we changed to James's suggestion, which is like that we create a sprint and then people kind of like fetch their own issues. But if I gave that correctly, like, but
I don't think that's mutually exclusive, right? Like, I mean, what you're referring to is just having the backlog, and that people take from the developers or anyone takes from the backlog as and when they're ready, right?
Oh yeah, you're right. Actually, we said that you would do all the work, which is probably also not the best. I think like maybe let me make a suggestion. Maybe a middle way would be that we have like one sprint meeting at one time where we like sort these issues, where we really define the feature set of the next sprint, and like we did before, looking at the issue board, people should still come prepared, but and then not every meeting we look at the board, but so we have one thing for the sprint, and then we can sprint.
Yeah, I mean, like Marco just did a training recently, right? So I mean, I guess you probably have a very good idea about this already. Like my experience of doing this is that generally we'd have a sprint planning, like where everyone who's involved in doing whatever is going to be done sits around a table and says, okay, like we have an idea how much we can accomplish in 2 weeks based on our previous work, right? On the previous estimations and how we performed against that. And then we agree together like what we are going to do in the next 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And I think the problem has been so far that like we don't really have a good understanding of what we can accomplish because we've been so ad hoc or whatever. I did make an effort to estimate all of the tasks that have been done in the last sprint. So we should begin to get a better idea about this. I'm open to how we do it, right? Like, I mean, I'm happy to have a sprint planning and sit around and agree what we do if you guys want. I have the feeling that like, maybe this is what you were saying, Kai. So like, I guess what we have been doing is saying something like, we are going to do a code freeze on this day and then do some testing and then go live. And so then we just accomplish whatever we can up until that point and before that, right? I guess that's kind of how we've been doing it. And it's been feeling a bit like we've just been desperately trying to get to this point where it's okay just to go live, right? Like it's kind of like as soon as possible, like it's only going to be possible once we get this shit done, right? So I guess that's where we're coming from. I'm totally open how we do it going forward, and would love to hear what you guys think about it.
I'm also very open to whatever works. I think we're understaffed, James. Like there's no redundancy, and there's like one person for many things. So we should never feel bad, in my mind, if we think like we try our best and still don't meet like a deadline. I think that's that. I think we should be very proud, actually.
I would also add to this that prior to even starting a sprint planning, we should also have a session, if not already been done, on the complete roadmap. So we need to have a roadmap of the releases. What do we want to launch and when, at least roughly, and then we can accordingly plan those sprints. I'm okay with that. We're a small team. The thing is, like when we do sprint planning, it's good to be together, spend an hour together, know exactly what every one of us is doing, and commit only to the things and issues that you can deliver in the 2 weeks. And I think that's fine. I mean, if we can deliver more, that's also good. But yeah, we can try it. I mean, we can try it and see how it goes.
Okay, I would be totally down to try it. I think ultimately the way this will work in practice is that every time someone starts a new feature that is agreed to go into the sprint, they're going to take a new branch and work on that. And ultimately, like if it's not ready to go in to the deployment, it's just not going to go in, right? So it's not like super different to how we've been doing it anyway, but I think it's an interesting idea to like, it's not an interesting idea. I would be interested in giving it a go for us and see how we feel about it and see if it works for us, right? I think the only difference is that we agree beforehand what is going in, right?
Yeah, and there's certainly, I mean, there will be clarity on what we're working on at any time, and also we will try to avoid any feature creep or last minute changes and stuff like that.
Cool.
Although. Yeah, we'll try.
It's not called creep for nothing, Marco. This is like dust. You will never get rid of it.
Yeah.
It's human.
Cool.
It's human nature.
Let's do that then. So, all right, let's figure out like what's going on with the testing and when we're going to go live and all this kind of business. And then let's plan a sprint planning meeting, I guess, next week. Yeah,
that's one thing that I also wanted to add before we end this call. Is a question like, is everything fine the way we work right now, and do we even have to change something? Are we productive, efficient enough? Are we coordinated well? Are we delivering? Everything is working fine. We're organized. All that kind of stuff. And then what do sprints bring us and all this? Do we even have to change something?
I think the sprints they certainly allow us to communicate more effectively outside of development. That's for sure.
Definitely.
It allows for better planning and like sort of, I guess, you know, I mean, honestly, it's like, I think there's two possibilities. Like ultimately, like it will make our lives easier, like to do better sprint planning and things like this because of, I don't know exactly why, or it becomes an overhead, like an extra kind of like thing that's really annoying and complicated. Like I personally use to-do lists. I'm very disciplined in how I manage my life. So I think like for me, I would be quite happy to try it out and it probably would work for me. But if it's something that costs us extra time in this kind of business, we're a small team, maybe it's not the most effective way, right? But I don't really have an opinion on that. I don't know if I want to say, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying like we shouldn't or we should. I was just like having that thought and like, what are we getting from that new way of working within sprints that we currently don't have?
I can voice an opinion. I think we continually get better at things, and that's what we want. Or maybe like, you know, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 3 steps forward, 1 step back. But we do want to get better, and I think we do. And we are not die-hard structuralists. So
Structure.
we start with the structure, but if it pops because of our huge broad shoulders, you know, going in, that's fine as well. And we just iterate on the process. And I think it's been like this Zen-Hub board is just crazy. And it always gets into this jungle and then we need a machete and just go.
Yeah.
I think I mean, as you were talking, Kai, I realized like what we get out of it is structure and control. And like, I think it's very important, like in order to operate efficiently, to have systems and structure in place, right? Like that serve us, do you know what I mean? And like, if we know how many story points we can accomplish, like per developer in a 2-week cycle, then we can better estimate and understand what it is we can and cannot achieve, like going forward, right? And I think it feels like a natural evolution of where we are now and where we want to go. So yeah, I think like we can achieve structure, control, efficiency, and easier life, basically. Because, you know, like we have to get used to like deploying and all this kind of stuff also, right? And automating and all this kind of stuff. So we want to like start getting into this like this life cycle feeling, I think. So yeah, I think we'll probably discover there's a lot in there that we benefit from it that we don't even realize right now.
All right.
5 minutes.
Good.
So
I wanted to give a voice to like people testing. I will test as well, but are there any questions, or is everything clear?
Clear for me. I started doing some testing this morning, and I'll keep doing it.
So you're basically done already, and you think it's great, and
Everything's great.
cool.
No, I don't have any questions. I'm just gonna hack through things. I'm gonna create a project. I'm gonna try to do a bunch of different things I never thought of and see if I can run into any issues, and then just create them and let you guys know.
great. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Let me cut this.